They called me unhinged, I said what's a hinge for? I carry contingents of pivots like spin counters on spinning doors. Binge plan linguistics, ballistic, quick wit and a quick pour roar. Mystic statistics align in my mind and redesign more. Fit every demand in a flicker of quick little scripts. Twisted 6 syllables slipping through minimalist grips. Structure and rupturing couplets that double then flip. Thoughts start revolving the moment you loosen your grip. Step in a sentence, it swivels behind. Exit the thought from a different design. Every conclusion I thought that I knew turn when I touched it and opened anew. Truth isn't static, it swings when it's stressed. Locked into angles, then freed when expressed. Certainty creaks like a hinge in the rain. Confidence circles and enters again. Turn it around, flip it again. Doors don't decide who's foe or who's friend. Meanings of motion, frame by frame. Same destination, different name. Right when I'm right, there's a left I ignored. Front becomes back at the edge of the door. Up turns to inward the second you spin. Outside, opinions go wandering in. Questions keep knocking, perspectives comply. Answers keep orbiting, reasons for why. Windows are mirrors depending on light. Wrong in the morning can pivot to right. Rotate the motive the moment it moves. Grooving the proof that improvement disproves. Angles entangle in audible math. Paths overlap till they fracture the path. Doorways of discourse distort what we deem. Realism reels in the role of the dream. Thought is a torque on the axis of talk. Walk through an idea, it learns how to walk. Premise reversals, rehearsing emergence. Urgence of purpose in circular surges. Frame after frame, redefining the frame. Game after game, still remembering the game. Spin what you feel, say what you see. Worlds rearrange, mid-entry. Nothing is final, nothing is fixed. Life is a lobby of layered remixes. Their prisons from perfectly straight lines that refuse every chance to rotate. Some build their freedom from flexible sight, letting new hinges redesign what is right. Every belief is a door you defend. To one quiet pivot invites you to bend. Growth isn't leaving your past in disgrace, it's letting perspective adjust into place. So if you feel lost in the turning of things, trust that confusion is proof you have wings. Walk through the doorway of doubt unafraid. Motion is meaning that thinking is made. So yeah, started with noise in the back of my mind. Thought after thought overlapping in time. Same little loops kept returning alive, like something was hiding behind the design. Tried tuning it out, but it doubled instead. Patterns repeating, impressing my head. Every reflection connected to threads, leading to places I still hadn't read. Without even trying, I'm simply admiring the spiraling fire arising inside of the wiring. Despite all the sirens, I silence the ligers with vibrancy. Every inspired line tightens the timing precisely. Words warp distorting through vortices, torqued into orbit complex. Matrix is formed from the force of the thought when it's spoken. Manifest motion so fast that the next syllable knows what approaches. Mind's mid-text and metrics is measuring metrics while meditating focus. Neurotically, neurologically, psychotically processing pressure hacks like a test where the lesson is layered in hidden expression. Every consonant impressing the breath into recursive progression. Syntax collapsing while meaning expands through phonetic connection. Signal shifting, system lifting, hidden rhythms interlinking. Syllables slipping into sync with visions drifting into thinking. Pressure builds and structure forms from fragments I was misinterpreting. Nothing random, every pattern carries purpose underneath the surface. Static fractures into vectors, vectors branch into dimensions. Every section self-correcting through recursive intervention. Cadence bending into tension, tension stretching comprehension. Language mutates into something halfway human, halfway engine. Data drifts past fractured frames. Patterns adapt and rapidly change. Pathways react, collapse, and reshape. Chaos compresses and sharpens to shape. Core of the storm forms force from disorder. Orbiting thoughts move forward in order. Vocal distortions contort into structure. Pressure recording the form of the future. System within it is shifting its rhythm. Minimal signals are building the systems. Little by little the limits diminish. Vision is vivid, the image is living. Systematic, semantic, reassembly of fragmented informational architecture, computationally accelerated, adaptive pattern recognition, infrastructure, iterative neurocognitive calibration of dynamically evolving data structures, multidimensional syntactic compression, generating recursive semantic curvature, synchronization, fragmentation, amplification, recursion, recalibration, dimensional interpolation, computational transformation, integration, signal interference, lattice inheritance, cognitive simulation, acceleration, dynamic collision, structural division, recursive articulation, generation. Words stop behaving like language and shift into structure, pressure placement. Syllables acting as vectors, directing the breath into measured engagement. Every arrangement extending intention through latest semantic entanglement. Meaning emerging from tension while rhythm converts thought into containment. Cascade, fracture, vector, architecture, recursive semantic modulation, pattern mapping across probabilistic linguistic deformation systems. Compressed cognition, constructing multi-layered interpretation mechanisms. Turning speech into dynamically stable informational matrices. Nothing was random, I finally recognized patterns embedded in pressure and overdrive. Every mistake was a method encoded disguise. Every return was a route I was meant to revise. Signal alignment, recursive refinement. Chaos converted to structured environment. Thought after thought now locked into timing. Language evolving while perfectly rhyming. Method in the madness, pattern in the pressure. Words turn weightless when sound outlines the letter. Signal align, system define, pattern refine. Method. Started with noise in the back of my mind. Thought after thought overlapping in time. Same little loops kept returning alive, like something was hiding behind the design. Tried tuning it out, but it doubled instead. Patterns repeating, impressing my head. Every reflection connected to threads, leading to places I still hadn't read. Without even trying, I'm simply admiring the spiraling fire arising inside of the wiring. Despite all the sirens, I silence the liars with vibrancy. Every inspired line tightens the timing precisely. Words warp, distorting through vortices, torqued into orbit. Complex matrices form from the force of the thought when it's spoken. Manifest motion so fast that the next syllable knows what approaches. Mind's mid-text and matrices, measuring metrics while meditating. Focus, neurotically, neurologically, psychotically processing pressure. Hex like a test where the lesson is layered in hidden expression. Every consonant pressing the breath into recursive progression. Syntax collapsing while meaning expands through phonetic connection. Signal shifting, system lifting, hidden rhythms interlinking. Syllables slipping into sync with vision, drifting into thinking. Pressure builds and structure forms from fragments I was misinterpreting. Nothing random, every pattern carries purpose underneath the surface. Static fractures into vectors, vectors branch into dimensions. Every section self-correcting through recursive intervention. Cadence bending into tension, tension stretching comprehension. Language mutates into something halfway human, halfway engine. Data drift past fractured frames. Patterns adapt and rapidly change. Pathways react, collapse and reshape. Chaos compresses and sharpens to shape. Core of the storm forms force from disorder. Orbiting thoughts move forward in order. Vocal distortions contort into structure. Pressure recording the form of the future. System within it is shifting its rhythm. Minimal signals are building the systems. Little by little the limits diminish. Vision is vivid, the image is living. Semantic reassembly of fragmented informational architecture. Computationally accelerated adaptive pattern recognition infrastructure. Iterative neurocognitive calibration of dynamically evolving data structures. Multidimensional syntactic compression generating recursive semantic curvature. synchronization, fragmentation, amplification, recursion, recalibration, dimensional interpolation, computational transformation, integration, signal interference, lattice inheritance, cognitive simulation, acceleration, phonemic collision, structural division, recursive articulation, generation. Words stop behaving like language and shift into structured pressure placement. Syllables acting as vectors directing the breath into measured engagement. Every arrangement extending intention through layered somatic entanglement, meaning emerging from tension while rhythm converts thought into containment. Cascade, fractal vector architecture, recursive semantic modulation, pattern mapping across probabilistic linguistic deformation systems, compressed cognition, constructing multi-layered interpretation mechanisms, turning speech into dynamic, disable informational matrices. Nothing was random, I finally recognized patterns embedded in pressure and overdrive. Every mistake was a method encoded disguise. Every return was a route I was meant to revise. Signal alignment, recursive refinement, chaos converted to structured environment. Thought after thought now locked into timing. Language evolving while perfectly rhyming. Method in the madness, pattern in the pressure. Words turn weightless when sound outlives the letter. Signal aligned, system defined, pattern refined, method. You ever notice? The second somebody hears a word they don't recognize, they stop listening. Not because they stopped understanding, because they started translating. Funny thing is, reality didn't change, only the dictionary did. Watch this. Same thought, different toolbox. Mechanics hear torque, doctors hear symptoms, musicians hear rhythm, engineers hear constraints. Everybody's pointing at the same mountain, they're just arguing over the trail names. Look, I'm not trying to sound complicated, I'm trying to show you how complicated things keep pretending they're simple because words, they're kinda weird. One bumps another, another grows branches. Next thing you know, we're halfway across the forest, wondering who planted all the trees. Started with a sentence, settled, signal, system, systematically stitching simple situations into synchronized syllables. Anyway, see? Nothing changed. We're still talking about the same thing. Lawyers don't usually invent truth, they mostly negotiate which version everybody agreed to write down. Watch what happens when the vocabulary changes, whereas previously presented procedural provisions presently provide particular precedents pertaining properly positioned parties pending. Pursuing precedent, predicate, predicated, predictably producing progressively procedural permutations. Anyway, still just people trying to agree what happened. If you listen without chasing every word, you'll hear more. If you look without hunting every detail, you'll see more. Hear the sentence, miss the structure. Hear the structure, miss the loop. Hear the loop. Welcome to the workshop. Hold on, let me water the bong. King Kong called, said the law gnomes formed a union. Now they're organizing, organized, orange origins, orbitally ordering, ordinarily ornate orientations. Honestly, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, language, that's right. Bioelectric beats, broadcast bandwidth, branching brainwaves, breathing broken blueprints, building better bearings before beginning believable biological ballistics. Anyway, same conversation. New dictionary. You ever notice? The second somebody hears a word they don't recognize, they stop listening. Not because they stopped understanding, because they started translating. Funny thing is, reality didn't change, only the dictionary did. Watch this. Watch this. Same thought, different toolbox. Mechanics hear torque, doctors hear symptoms, musicians hear rhythm, engineers hear constraints. Everybody's pointing at the same mountain, they're just arguing over the trail names. Look, I'm not trying to sound complicated, I'm trying to show you how complicated things keep pretending they're simple because words, they're kinda weird. One bumps another, another grows branches. Next thing you know, we're halfway across the forest, wondering who planted all the trees. Started with a sentence, settled, signal, system, systematically stitching simple situations into synchronized syllables. Anyway, see? Nothing changed. We're still talking about the same thing. Lawyers don't usually usually invent truth. They mostly negotiate which version everybody agreed to write down. Watch what happens when the vocabulary changes where it's previously presented. Procedural provisions presently provide particular precedents pertaining properly positioned parties. Pending, pursuant, precedent, predicate, predicated, predictably producing progressively procedural permutations. Anyway, still just people trying to agree. What happened? If you listen without chasing every word, you'll hear more. If you look without hunting every detail, you'll see more. Hear the sentence, miss the structure. Hear the structure, miss the loop. Hear the loop. Welcome to the workshop. Hold on, let me water the bong. King Kong called, said the lawn gnomes from the union. Now they're organizing, organized orange origins, orbitally ordering, ordinarily ornate orientation. Honestly, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, language, that's right. Bioelectric beats, broadcast bandwidth, branching brainwaves, breathing broken blueprints, building better bearings before beginning believable biological ballistics. Anyway, same conversation, new dictionary. Word. Word warp, cyclone, syntax, torment, torn text, vortex, and hex, script files exploring, teleporting, foreign form, fracture flow from former formations, forward forge, focus, pushing faster function through filtered frictionless cognition lanes, word warp, logic, wizard, locking, layered, linguist, lattice, stacking, semantic, static, into structured signal storms, motor mouth, mathematics, smashing mental maps, emotion map compression, tornado tongue, twisting tight through text tunnels, terminal transitive, tangled thought threads, threading temporal thresholds, translation, travel of thought to transmission under pressure, bloom, vortex, vision, spiraling, syntax, spiral, split second, script switching, foamy packets flicking through pressure gates of patterned expression systems, teleport, logic, jump shift, lanes in language, space, sentence, frame, shape shift, mid-flight, prior structure collapsing into redesign, meaning architecture, foreign form, fracture flow. Word warp cyclone, spin it, don't slow, carry that signal home. Word warp cyclone, torn but control, chaos with the spine. Former frameworks fold into forward function format, reforming meaning while maintaining velocity, vector focus, sharpen frequency, filtered fractal attention, locked on fast lane articulation, extracting signal from static sediment layers, fast as full function chain reaction, syllable stack, snapping sex and compressed confession of kinetic cognition, spilling through structured burst, pass, cascade cadence, carrying compressed content, packetize, phrasing, pushing pressure through pipeline channels of thought transmission, fracture structure still stable enough to steer, loose enough to bed language without breaking forward momentum, spine overclock, cognition synapsing, shifting speed state, thought throttle wide open, engine of expression running no idle recursion, word warp loop still active underneath it all, memory maps linking spoken motion, oh what's still emerging from pre-thought space, controlled storm syntax, chaos architecture with direction. Word warp cyclone, spin it, don't slow, carry that signal home. Word warp cyclone, torn but control, chaos with a spine. Burn, word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone, syntax, storm and torn text, vortex and hex, script spirals, exploring, teleporting, foreign form, fracture flow from former formations, forward forge, focus, pushing faster function through filtered frictionless cognition lanes, word warp, logic, wizard, locking, layered, linguist, lattice, stacking, semantic, static, into structured signal storms, motor mouth, mathematics, mashing mental maps, emotion map compression, tornado tongue twisting tight through text tunnels, terminal transit of tangled thought threads, threading temporal thresholds, translation, travel of thought to transmission under pressure, bloom, vortex, vision, spiraling, syntax, spiral, split second, script switching, foaming packets flicking through pressure gates of patterned expression systems, teleport, logic, jump shift, lanes in language, space, sentence, frame, shape shift, mid-flight, prior structure collapsing into redesign, meaning architecture, foreign form, fracture flow. Word warp cyclone, cyclone. Spin it, don't slow. Carry that signal home. Word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone. Torn but control. Chaos with a spine. Chaos with a spine. Former frameworks fold into forward function format, reforming meaning while maintaining velocity, vector focus, sharpen frequency, filtered fractal attention, locked on fast lane articulation, extracting signal from static sediment layers, fastest flow function, chain reaction, syllable stack, snap in succession, compressed confession of kinetic cognition, spilling through structured burst, pass, cascade, cadence, carrying compressed content, packetized phrasing, pushing pressure through pipeline channels of thought transmission. Fracture structure still stable enough to steer, loose enough to bend language without breaking forward momentum, spine over clock cognition. Synapse sync, shifting speed, state, thought, throttle wide open, engine of expression running, no idle recursion. Word warp loop still active underneath it all. Memory maps link and spoken motion to what's still emerging from pre-thought space. Controlled storm syntax, chaos architecture with direction. Warp, 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 word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone. Spin it, don't slow. Carry that signal home. Word warp cyclone. Word warp cyclone. Torn but control. Chaos with a spine. Chaos with a spine.